So the Batman Penguin spin-off series is releasing this week on Max, and during the last week or so, Matt Reeves and other Batman saga producers have given us updates on both the upcoming Batman movie and the Penguin show. In particular, Reeves has shared key details on the setting of the Batman 2, and it makes me wonder what we could get come the upcoming projects in his crime saga. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing all the new details from Matt Reeves on the Batman 2 and giving you my theory on how the Penguin might end to set up that film. Before I get into it though, if you want to keep up to date on any of my future content surrounding the Penguin series, the Batman saga, and other upcoming DC projects, then don't forget to support this upload by giving it a like rating and subscribing to the channel. But without further ado, let's dive into the new details surrounding the Batman 2 and my theory for the upcoming Penguin series. So in 2022, Matt Reeves introduced a fresh, dark and gritty interpretation of Gotham City with the Warner Bros. Pictures film The Batman. Now he is expanding his cinematic universe into television with The Penguin, which is being led by showrunner and fellow executive producer Lauren LaFranc. Set just a week after the tumultuous events of The Batman, The Penguin is set to premiere this week on Max. The series follows Oz Cobb, or Oswald Cobblepot, portrayed once again by Colin Farrell, as he cunningly maneuvers his way through the treacherous landscape of Gotham in pursuit of greater power amidst the city's crime-infested chaos. The question we have is, how does this new series fit into the timeline between the Batman films? Well, Matt Reeves has been doing new interviews over the last few weeks, and his words shed light on this approach, alongside giving us some new interesting details surrounding his Batman sequel. He was asked about the development of the Batman 2, whether his theatrical saga would be a trilogy, and what he is enjoying the most about the filmmaking process. In an interview with Forbes, he said, "We're getting near the end of the script for the Batman 2, and we've shared big parts of the script with DC and with the studio. They are very, very excited, and we're hoping to gear up at the beginning of next year and hopefully be shooting sometime maybe mid-year or something like that. That's the goal." He was then asked whether the Batman films would make out a trilogy and replied, "Yes, that is still the plan. I mean, it's sticking very closely to the path we envisioned." Then, to follow up this interview, Reeves gave us some new details to chew on with an interview he gave for Collider. He said the story plays out over the next weeks after the Batman 1 and take you towards the end of the year. We don't play Christmas or New Year's, but we are getting there. Things also kind of shifted. So when we came up with the idea to do the Penguin, that was something where I had always intended to continue Penguin's story and wanted to tell this story of his beginning of his rise to power. Because we know that he's introduced in the Batman as a kind of mid-level, sort of overlooked, mocked figure who's not yet in anyone's eyes the kingpin we come to know him as in the lore. And so that was deliberate, because I wanted the origin stories of these other characters of the Rogues Gallery, and that story was originally going to be the entry into the next movie. In the wake of what's happened at the end of the first movie, Carmine Falcone is dead, he's had power for 20 years. And now in the power vacuum, as Selina says to him, it's going to get bloody. And this is the moment where Rob as Batman is narrating at the end of the movie, some people will seize the chance to grab anything they can. It was kind of like imagining for that story an aspect kind of like a Scarface story, like a gangster story. So with all these details in mind, and Reeves revealing that we are moving towards a winter setting in the Batman 2 and beyond, it makes us think about what could be on the cards when it comes to the villains of that sequel film. The big suggestion from this is that we might finally get to see his more realistic and emotional take on the character of Mr. Freeze. The conclusion of The Batman sees Gotham City submerged, with Reeves highlighting that some neighbourhoods will manage to recover, while the less fortunate areas will bear the brunt of the Riddler's chaos. This scenario or another could lead to the introduction of Victor Freeze. We could get the heartbreaking loss of his wife Nora during this, or he might resort to putting her in cryogenic stasis, setting him on a path towards becoming that known villain. In Reeves' grounded interpretation of the Batman saga, it's unlikely that Freeze will wear a high-tech suit or wield his freeze weapon. Instead, he may be a thief, willing to do whatever to save his wife, even if it means eliminating good people who obstruct him. He could transform into a vengeful figure, targeting those he blames for her demise and turning cryogenic technology into his weapons. And again, a more nuanced portrayal of the character could fit well against the winter backdrop that the Batman is moving towards. The only thing that holds me back on predicting Freeze as the main villain of Part 2 is that Reeves did specify that the second film would not be in the middle of winter and that they are moving towards that instead. Still, we could get the introduction of that character and it would definitely fit the tone and transition towards the winter setting if it is done right. Another option that I think is more possible based on Reeves' comments is actually the introduction of the Court of Owls. A few weeks back, Reeves said that the Batman 2 will dig into an epic story about deeper corruption, and it goes places that he couldn't anticipate after the first one. The seeds of where this goes are all in the first movie, and it expands in a way that will show you aspects of the character you never got to see. Reeves' mention of growth when it comes to his crime saga makes me immediately think of the Court of Owls, a hidden organisation that can broaden the narrative's depth with its focus on corruption in Gotham City. The group operates as a clandestine alliance of Gotham's elite, shrouded in mystery and often dismissed as mere urban legend. Known as the Court of Owls, this centuries-old organisation wields significant influence, orchestrating much of the corruption that plagues Gotham City. Their relentless pursuit of power is driven by a lineage of prominent families that have shaped the city's history. To maintain their secrecy, they employ lethal assassins called Talons, whose ruthless efficiency keeps the organisation hidden from the majority of Gotham's citizens. These Talons are not only deadly, but also deeply entrenched in the city's power dynamics, and with the groundwork for corruption already established, it would be fitting for Batman to confront a formidable array of villains linked to Gotham's very fabric. The theme of institutional power and its corrupting nature was a central focus in The Batman, and recent updates from Reeves indicate that this exploration will continue in the second movie. So the Court of Owls are of course a likely route to go down. And this brings me onto my final point of discussion, and that is what we could see happen come the end of the Penguin series to lead into that second film. Reeves commented on the trajectory of Oz from the Batman to the Penguin show and then moving on to the Batman 2. He said at the end of the Batman you see him looking out over the city, and so I said that's where it should start, and we then should see that kind of ascent, and then we need it to get him to this place where he in these events is ready to join the second film. He suddenly was going to do something that no one believed he could do, which is to start on the path to becoming the Kingpin. We know what we want Oz to be in the next movie, and we know the events of that movie, so we just said we need him to have this rise to power to the point that we get him to, and then there needs to be these events that sort of give you the sense that he's going to be entering the movie in this way. And Dylan Clark added, from our movie, you don't get a sense of how this character is going to become the Kingpin. As Matt said, we're focused on Batman and Bruce's point of view and developing him as fully as possible. We don't have a lot of real estate to spend with Oz, so this series and this long-form space allows us to really dig into those details. When he comes back into movie 2, he's not the same character that Batman interacted with. So what these comments suggest to me is that the end of The Penguin is going to have big effects on the central character of that show, with Reeves saying that the gangster element is going to be big going forward and that the corruption element will get deeper. It makes me think that both The Penguin and the Court of Owls could be the main two villains of that second film. At the end of The Penguin, I think we'll see Farrell's character gaining control of the crime element in Gotham, and I think he'll establish the Iceberg Lounge the way he views its future as the boss. I think we'll also have characters like Sophia Falcone and Renzi Feliz's Victor Aguilar working under Penguin at that lounge. In this happening, I think we'll see that Oz has transformed into the main kingpin of the city, and I think he will be used as an important side villain of the Batman 2. Essentially, Part 2's version of Carmine Falcone, but more deeply linked to the plot of that second film. And then on top of this, I think we'll get Part 2's main villain in the Court of Owls, giving us the expansion of that deep-rooted corruption from movie 1. Now, of course, if Penguin and the Court of Owls are the main villains of movie 2, that doesn't mean we can't have other villains make an appearance or be teased throughout the film. After all, we've had interview teasers surrounding Harvey Dent, we've had hints of Mr. Freeze, we've had an introduction for Barry Keoghan's Joker, and Catwoman will surely come back too. So many characters like this might be interwoven into that narrative, make an appearance, or be set up for other projects. And at the end of the day, there's so much that Matt Reeves and his team can use when building out these movies and TV shows. But again, based on that transition to the winter setting and the Batman 2 taking place a week after the Penguin, it makes me think that we might see the Court of Owls and Penguin himself as the two primary villains of that second film. Building on the ending to the Batman Part 1, the next film could show how Robert Pattinson's character is struggling to fight back against both the escalated crime wave in the city and the corruption that has took on a whole new level with the Court of Owls. Through this, historical reveals about Gotham can be made, and Pattinson's Crusader can continue to evolve through facing long-term trauma. But that was my video discussing the new details surrounding the Batman 2 and my thoughts on the ending of the upcoming Penguin series. While we do have to wait until 2026 for the Batman sequel, it's great that we have a prime HBO series coming out this week to keep us engaged in the Batman saga. With it leading directly into the events of the Batman 2, it will be intriguing to see what kind of role Colin Farrell's Penguin and other characters will have by the time Matt Reeves' sequel does release. And when it comes to the iteration of Gotham that Reeves is expanding, I trust that his saga will become increasingly fascinating the more we see of it. But let me know down below in the comments section what you think of the new details surrounding the Batman 2 and what you think might happen come the ending of the Penguin series. For much more videos and news on the Batman universe and DC, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.